Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast, your show for news, notes, reviews and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I'm your host, STRIGGA, as always joined by my man Dylan, and nobody will ever know because I cut it down, but I fucked up our intro 4 or 5 times. It's Dylan, it is insanely hot here in Germany today. It is around 32 Celsius, which is around 90 Fahrenheit. I'm melting away.
I too have felt the effects of this insane heat. We were at 35 degrees Celsius today, like 95 Fahrenheit to all my friends out there. So it's very hot. I hate it. It's making me want to go sleeveless, and I don't like that. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be hot, but it's okay. Everything's going on. Shout out to everybody out there going through the heat waves. I don't care if you're in Germany, America, England, wherever you are. We've got you in our thoughts. And just want to say shout out to my great-grandmother, Nanny. She is having her birthday on Saturday, turning 87 years old. We're going to get a cake and her favorite food, which is some catfish. I'm putting together that, and hopefully it's a good day for her. And I did want to say that out there. Happy birthday to her. It should be a lot of fun and happiness this weekend. But on today's show, we got a lot to talk about in wrestling. Oh, yeah. Just 1 week passed from our last episode, and God, so much came after it. So now we got a lot.
Just let me say happy birthday, too. And I want to say also that I last weekend had something to celebrate as well, because my now former students had their A-level graduation party, and I had a really lovely weekend with 2 graduation ceremonies. First the 10 graders and then the A-level students. So I want to give a big shout out to those, because some of them actually told me that they have been secretly listening to this show. And they thought it's a good show. So that is something that came surprisingly to me, but I liked it. I loved it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much to the people in Strigga's personal life, his orbit, coming into our world in the Eastern Lariat. We really appreciate all of you guys for listening too. Hopefully you guys continue to enjoy the show. Hopefully my contributions are not completely ignored. They just listen to Mr. Strig.
Yes, they use AI to block you out of the show.
I mean, AI is no bueno right now.
Nope.
AI knows I'm trying to fight AI right now. And the students, I want to believe, if you have any guts, Strigga, if that is your real name.
It's very much my real name.
I think we all know that, and I think your students also agree. But the fact is, if you do, you teach them not to block me out with the AI. So that's a challenge for you as a teacher. We're always trying to improve and do better, and I hope that you reach that step this upcoming fiscal year.
I hope so. The greatest part about it is that they are not even wrestling fans, but they still thought it was a good show. So I guess that's a big plus for our show, I want to say.
No, and I told you in the DMs when we were talking about it, that's a comment I've gotten a number of times. It's not like every single day, but that's something I've gotten pretty consistently over the years, is that the show is very good for people who, because we're such a unique show in that we cover everything, we're basically the only one, really, when it comes to Japan that's at this level that covers everything. So that's a comment I get a lot, is that it's very good to help people who maybe they're just a New Japan fan, but then they hear us talking about like All Japan, and they want to check that out, or Dragon Gate or DDT, because we kind of touch so many things. And this show that we're going to have is a very good example of that. That we're going to cover. Just last week, I want to shout out a user on YouTube, Makai Club, who gave us a very nice, a very nice comment saying that this is what he's been looking for, because we talked about GLEAT and Dragon Gate on our last episode. So thank you very much for that Mackay Club, and everybody who listens to the show. We got some great comments, lots of likes and stuff. So we really appreciate all the listeners out there, no matter your background. If you're a fan of as long as you've been a fan, Strigga, like 25 years or anything like that when it comes to Japanese wrestling, or you've never even watched Japanese wrestling, it's just your way to get in. We really appreciate every single one of you guys.
Oh, yeah. 25 is pretty accurate, yes.
Who killed WCW?
I learned from watching some clips on Twitter that it was neither the NWO nor Eric Bischoff.
Oh, no.
So, no, surely not. So I guess it was Billy Kidman.
Oh, man. That was Ken, like my great-grandpa. That was one of his favorites in WCW, even when he was in WWE. So he's not going to be happy that you singled him out. But I don't think it was him. I think maybe that other one you mentioned may have more to do with the WWE. But, again, the documentary, who are we to argue with the Who Killed WCW documentary? It definitely wasn't Bischoff, and it definitely wasn't Nash. I think we can all come to that conclusion. So the story that continues on, and we'll be talking about it for another 23 years from now.
Yes, we are going to talk about no carnies whatsoever on this show here. Surely not. First of all, Dylan, let us get into the G1 Climax, because that is a direct callback to our last show. We did the show one day before the blocks of the G1 were announced, and we can go.
Little did we know that was not the plan at all, because we both thought that it would be later.
Yes,
we were speculating that they would wait until at least the tournament started to announce these blocks, but no, they decided no. Eastern Lariat's out. We're gonna release them right now.
Yeah, that's one of the things that this show always struggles with. Usually we do the show, and then there is some breaking news announcement the day thereafter, and we can't get that into the show. So once again, New Japan got one on us, but here we are right now talking about these blocks. The G1 Climax 34, it starts out on July 20th in Osaka in the Big Edion Arena, formerly the Bodymaker Coliseum. I love that name, by the way, in capital letters. That's why it's Bodymaker. And it finishes out on August 18 in Sumo Hall. By the way, Flosh, if you're listening to this, I sent you a WhatsApp message one week ago or so, and you never responded to me. I asked you if you want to watch the G1 Climax opening weekend together. So please respond.
Another real life call out right now on this show for Strig. He's settling scores, putting people over. This is the German edition of Eastern Lariat.
I can talk German if you want, but you won't be able to respond, I guess. Let's keep this straight here. G1 Climax Block A, Dylan. Tetsuya Naito. I'm expecting him to be the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion by that point, of course, with Forbidden Door this weekend. Naito has said to Tokyo Sports that if he doesn't win the world title, he will try to forfeit his spot in the G1 Climax. But I'm guessing that's not going to be happening. So it's Tetsuya Naito, Shota Umino, Shingo Takagi, Sanada, Great-O-Khan, Zack Sabre Jr., Gabe Kidd, Evil, Jake Lee, and the winner of the Block A contestants tournament. Dylan, what's your take on this block?
The day after we released our show, I actually did a solo Patreon show that I ended up putting up on YouTube for free because I kind of changed my opinions. Because remember, on our last episode, we did a lot of speculating.
Yeah.
Trying to predict what was going to happen, who was going to be in, who was going to be on. Obviously, Jake, we all figured was going to be in. I think that wasn't that big of a surprise.
Yeah.
All things considered. But after seeing, and we talked about the format, which we both were cautiously optimistic on, I would argue. Like, we liked what it was. We liked the idea of it. We liked that they did something different, I would say. I think after I saw the lineup and how they set up this tournament with the plan, who was out and not in the tournament, I was so much less interested in the field, actually, coming in there. And again, I will shout out Mackay Club, who left a comment on that video, and he said, we got some that were a little bit kinder, but he was like, this is the most poverty lineup I've seen in my life of a G1. The thing with this is, with A Block specifically, this is the Naito block. He's got long-running storylines with almost every player, here.
Yeah.
He's got it with Jake, Evil, Zack, Sonata, Shingo, and in some ways, Umino, they will, probably do something.
They will elevate to that level. I'm thinking that Umino might score the upset on Naito.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the predictions when we see it, but yeah, definitely Umino is going to be a big part of the tournament. But this is the Naito block overall. Like, they're putting everything around him, which is in some ways smart. He's really the biggest star you've got, so you might as well do everything you can to play into his wheelhouse. As a block, though, I think that there are some questions in terms of the quality that we've gotten here. And it's going to really hinge on that A block qualifier. If Ishii or Yoshihashi gets in, I think the block is dramatically improved. If Kenta gets in, then I think this block totally sucks. I did. Evil. We said so many words about him, and we don't need to get into him.
We said words about Evil.
Yes. A lot of words, but not many positive ones, so some would say. Okan, to me, adds nothing, in my opinion. He should have been in the play-in tournament, and they could have replaced him with one of the other ones here, in my opinion. Jake, a fine worker. His run has not been that well received, but no. I like the effort they put into him and Naito having a story. And the funny thing is, the interesting thing about him is, I could totally see him beating Naito in this tournament and being the challenger in October for the belt, which I think is a bold decision considering how altogether played out, which was not a very well received show in general.
I wouldn't put altogether so much on this one main event match. I would put it on the concept.
Yeah.
Because it's very clear that nobody really liked the first concept either, because it was a very bad crowd as well in Budokan compared to the building size. So I wouldn't put it on them necessarily alone, but on the entire infrastructure and the entire structure of altogether.
That's true, but I still think putting a world title match with Jake, if they go down that route, is a bold move. For New Japan in 2024. It's not what I would do, if we're being perfectly honest. But, I mean, this is his chance, though. He's been dreaming of this. He's wanted to set this up, that he gets into New Japan. I mean, they're doing a storyline that he could be breaking. Well, it's not he could be. They are breaking up, the good-looking guys and Noah. If he can show out here and have this great tournament and prove his naysayers wrong, this could be something that's a life-changing moment for him, legitimately. If he comes and has a great run, gets super over with the fans, and, he's a guy, then I think that's a great thing, and he should be very motivated, at the very least, to have a great tournament.
And I mean, there are wrestlers in this block that I can see him having good to very good matches with. There's, of course, Naito. I have not seen the first one. I've not seen all together. But Shingo Takagi, Sanada, Zack Sabre Jr., so there's chances for a very good match.
Yeah, see, this is the thing with Naito. I think, again, there's so much talk about Tanahashi every year. But when I watch him wrestle, I think Naito has less in the tank than Tanahashi does. I think he's terrible as a wrestler. He's going to have to be carried by some of these people, which is why this was so smart to book this block as a storyline thing. I don't have any faith Naito and Jake will have a good match.
Same with Tanahashi. Every year I see Naito showing up for the G1 for the crucial matches.
Yeah, he'll have that one big match, probably against Shingo or Zack, and people will say he had a great run. But we'll see. Sonata. First of all, we need to give Sonata some credit. He had a very good return match versus David Finlay.
Oh yeah,
on the show with the cage match.
I like that.
Yeah, that was a really good match they had. And Sonata, he's a guy. We were both critical of his title run last year for sure. And deservedly so. But I think since he's dropped the title, he really tried to make the best of that Naito match against somebody who really wasn't giving a lot. He had a great match against Hashi in the New Japan Cup. one of the better matches of the tournament. He feels like a guy who's really found himself a little bit after that title reign. They had the great angle. He feels like a guy that's doing some really decent stuff. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say he's like this amazing wrestler or anything, but I think he's really improved since he's dropped the title. And he's a guy that's going to be counted on. Like when you look at this block, he is going to be one of the guys they need to really step up. I would say here. Shingo's great. Zach's great. Umino, I think, is going to be a big focus on it. Kid's like a wild card to me. He's a guy that could go either way. And again, a lot hinges on the play-in factor, in my opinion. But in terms of the block itself, I think the B block is better, actually, than A block, personally. But I think a lot of people value Naito more as a wrestler. I think he's better than I do.
I have absolutely no use for Great O'Khan in this tournament.
Oh, yeah, he should have been in the play-in. That was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Like, Ishii or Yoshihashi should have been in his role, in my opinion. He should have been in the play-in.
Did they say it was part due to last year's score that they put those out of the tournament? I don't remember O'Khan having a great tournament.
Well, we saw Taichi. He had that interview where he was like, "What's the deal with this?" this,
nobody really said anything about this.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's why I didn't like how they did it. Like, I liked the idea of the play-in tournament, but how they did it, there's no logic behind who was in and who was out, pretty much. Like, it doesn't make any sense for some of these guys to be out while they're in. Like, Yoshihashi's been a tag team champion for most of the year.
Like, what you could say is Great O'Khan scored 2 points more than Yoshihashi in last year's tournament.
It did nothing sense.
Yeah.
Except getting embarrassed by Okada at that time.
He won the King of Pro Wrestling title.
Well, I'd say that doesn't...
Ishii also finished last in his block?
That's true.
Yeah.
There's at least logic behind him not being in. I mean, what we talked about on the last show, I kind of said Bishamon, if one's in, they should both be in. And they did the total stupid move of having one in, one out on there. And for how prestigious are these tag titles that they unified? Because your pick was TMDK to be in. They weren't even in the play-in.
No.
These are your champions. So again, it makes no sense and really dragged my interest in this whole tournament down, to be honest, because there was no internal logic behind this stuff. And even Taichi is being the voice of reason now. And that's...
Yeah, we forced Taichi to be the voice of reason here.
And he's another one. They're like, why isn't he in? Like, why is Phantasmo in and not... Yeah.
Well, yeah, Block A leaves some questions to be answered, definitely. With Block B, we have Hiroki Goto, El Phantasmo, Yotatsuji, Jeff Cobb, Henare, David Finlay, Renarita, Konosuke Takeshita, and, of course, the winner of Block B, the contestant tournament. Yeah.
And don't forget poor Uemura. Everyone else has already, but don't you forget him too. Straight.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, no. Poor guy.
So yeah, this is a good block, honestly. Like, if you look at it, Goto, Tsuji, Cobb, Hinari, Takeshita, to me, is like, he's the most interesting person in this tournament.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good matches. There's chemistry between a lot of wrestlers. The only thing that I don't like about this block is Finlay and Narita being in, because we're going to have 2 guys that will base their matches on shenanigans.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Finlay less better.
Yeah, Finlay less than Narita, but still though.
Even still, if you compare them, I would take Narita over Evil.
Yeah.
Like, if you gave me the choice, comparing. But I mean, I agree. He's another guy. Like, what have these people done? Like Uemura, how is Uemura ahead of Taichi in the tournament? Or Tanahashi? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, he's a newcomer. I don't really think that the statistics go for him, because they also have Takeshita in as a newcomer.
That's true, and he's a guest, so I think we can like same thing with Jake. It's like we kind of like if you look at his past, he's a guy, like, he's done great things in DDT before. Maybe not in AEW as much. He's not pushed too strong, but he's a guy at least, and a fantastic performer.
At least he has the AEW allegiance with him. If he was just a DDT guy, he would end the tournament with 1 victory and probably all other losses.
I was so annoyed that he was in. I was happy and annoyed, because on our last show, I was going to say him, like, as a guy that I thought would be in.
Yeah.
But Like when I said Shibata, you were totally negative on it, and it made me pull back on Takeshita.
The thing that made me not mention Takeshita was that he didn't even get the world title match with Jon Moxley, but they gave him this weird IWGP World Heavyweight title eliminator match, which told me, okay, this guy is not qualified to get a world title shot against Moxley, so why would he be in the G1 Climax then?
Yeah, I see. So, you would have shot that down too if I said it, but I would have actually been right on one of them if I had said him. But I did not. Like no doubt about it. But I mean, I think he's a welcome addition. He's the one. He's the one with all the fresh matches. Like all of these other guys have wrestled each other. I mean, A Block. Say what you want about it. These guys have all. How many times has Zack and Naito wrestled each other?
Each tournament it feels.
Yeah, they've done it like 4 years in a row. Like they're in the same block. It's not logical to keep doing the same stuff over and over. With Takeshita, you have a lot of great matches here. And yeah, I think that you've got Tsuji. Who do you think will have a better tournament between Umino and Tsuji?
Tsuji.
Me too. I think Tsuji is closer to where he should be than Umino. Goto, always a reliable head. We saw in the New Japan Cup how great he can be. That match with Tsuji really helped him a lot more than Tsuji and Naito did. I'll tell you that on there. Cobb, fantastic performer. Hinari got his stupid booking win over Shingo after like when he should have won it, but then he just did it a day later.
I hated that so much.
Yeah, that was so dumb. like so dumb.
So there have been 11 singles matches between Naito and Zack since 2017.
Yeah. And was I right that they did it a bunch of years in a row in the G1? They're in the same block every year? Because I think I looked it up, and it was like 4 or 5 years in a row that they were in the same block somehow. Even with the 4 blocks, they were still in the same block.
Yeah. They were. It's the 4th time in a row. Yes.
Oh my goodness! Like I said, what are you? Why? Why do we need that? Other than Naito wants to do it. Like I said, I think A Block is like Naito shadow booking. Like I think some of this because all of his guys are in this A Block pretty much.
Not only that, they also wrestled in the 2022 New Japan Cup final, and they wrestled at Royal Quest 2.
Who wants this? Like who wants to see this again? I don't get it, man. But B Block's pretty good. I think this is a good mark.
B Block's good.
Uemura, I want to say one thing on him. This is his chance. Like, he has not delivered since he's come back. I think many people say that, including myself.
If he was in Block A, I would be very skeptical, but in Block B, there is a lot of good wrestlers that he can be a foil to.
Yeah.
So that's his chance.
And if he has something to unlock that he hasn't shown yet, because remember, he had a lot of hype coming in. Like, a lot of people thought he might be the best one. Better than the 3 Musketeers, who have not been mentioned as such for a while. On there.
That's right, actually, yes.
Yes, it's funny how that played out after all of last year. Many people told me that was good, and actually.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Yes,
From
but
the
it
very
seemed like
beginning, it was a stupid idea, and
yes, we both agreed on that, and a lot of people disagreed with us on that, and I think that we won the battle of the 3 Musketeers. But Uemura, he had a lot of hype coming in and has not delivered. So this is his chance. A match with Takeshita, huge match. A match with Goto, a chance to stand out. Him and Tsuji could do some good stuff. So B Block's good. Again, I don't think it hinges as much on the B Block because I think all the options are good, actually, in some way, in B Block that they have left. Like, all 4 people bring something to it.
Who would you say wins the qualifier?
See, that's the interesting part. So now in the A Block, we've got Ishii versus Yoshihashi as the semifinal, and Kenta versus Callum Newman. I think you could argue, my prediction on this was that Newman and Oleg were kind of in the same spot. Yeah. They would win one match and then go out. And that's what I think. I could not bring it in my heart to put Kenta in over Ishii. Even though I think I think that's possible. Like,
I mean, it's possible, of course, yes.
But I can't admit it until it happens. So I cannot face a G1 without Ishii in it. If Yoshihashi gets in, that would be good too, and it would make, again, it should have happened in the first place. They both should have been in, or neither of them should have been in. You should have put Goto in the play-in if that was going to be it, but whatever. I will say Ishii makes it out of A Block to get in. Do you agree with that, or do you think it'll be?
Yeah, I would love that, actually.
It's a total heart pick on my part. It's not logic. I cannot face Kenta getting it over him.
I think I would love the story because he had 4 points last year, and this one they obviously booted him out because of that. Part of the reason that he scored so lowly. So it would be a good story for him to bounce back and show that he can still hang.
Some people have said Newman might be the pick.
Yeah.
I just think the thing is with him and Oleg, again, their time will come. Just not this year, in my opinion. Like, they'll be there. Like, obviously they have clients for it.
It's a good way to present them in a tournament that is within the reach of the big one. But I don't think they're there yet.
Just getting a win is a big deal for them. Like, over heavyweights. Yeah. Like, so to me, they've already won, even if they lose out. So I don't think it'll be Newman. I think it'll be Kenta. Ishii and Yoshihashi I'm 50-50 on because Hashi's pushed more than he is, like, usually. And I would like him in the tournament. He's been one of the guys that really has cracked the Evil code. He's really had Evil's best matches historically. So I would like to see him in there. Remember the one from the G1 a couple of years ago? That was a really good match. Like, yes, him versus Evil. So I would put him in there, fine. But again, I feel like putting Ishii in is such negative vibes to me. Like, or keeping him not in would be such negative vibes to me. So I would go with that. B block, you've got Tanahashi versus Oleg Boltin and TJP versus Taichi.
Yeah.
TJP, junior or heavyweight? Like, what are you guys doing with this guy?
I'm still confused about that. What is he now?
The thing is, I thought he was among the best in the junior tournament, the best in Super Junior. I respect him a lot as a wrestler. Just how they use him doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
He gets top billing on the cards above Henare and Great Khan. And junior heavyweights usually don't get that.
Why him and not Hiromu?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
And again, I like him as a wrestler. Like, I love his work. I think he's among the best. It's not about me as a fan. It's just logic that I'm not seeing here, unfortunately.
Maybe it's size?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Like I said, he's not that much smaller. I mean, what about Despy?
TGP is 5'10".
Okay.
Desperado, let's see. Desperado is 5'10" as well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. Again, it's like, I'm not against him getting this love. It's just very random, at the end of the day.
Hiromu is 5'7".
Yeah, he's smaller. I guess they see that as well. That was my argument against Garcia coming in from AEW. He's a little small. So I guess if they care about that, then okay. I mean, again, TJ is a great worker. Like, I'm not taking anything away from him. It's just weird how they're using things. So, but I'm for it. I mean, I thought Kojima possibly getting one last run would be a great story to tell if they wanted to do that.
That's correct.
But they don't want to do that. Is the problem.
Yep.
But I'm fine with this. TJP and Taichi could be a really good match, like in there, regardless of who wins. Tanahashi, I think, will beat Oleg. Again, Oleg will have his time. I just don't think it's this year overall.
Nah, he beat Yano. Yano is a fairly established guy that loses very sparsely, so that's good for Oleg.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like Oleg and Newman, they've already won, in my opinion. So that leaves us to Tanahashi versus either Taichi or TJ. Either way, I think Tanahashi gets in. They need a star. Look at that B block over again.
Mm-hmm.
Who's drawing in this B block? Like, there's not a lot of main event players here.
Plus, they have to do Hiroki Goto versus Tanahashi one more time.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. So I think Tanahashi will get in. If you want work rate, then Taichi or TJ would be a better pick overall. But I think they want the star power of Tana.
I really think they also would want the new guys with Yota and Uemura to go against Tanahashi.
I could see all three of them, Tsuji, Narita, and Uemura beating Tana in the tournament.
I can see that as well. Yeah, it would be the Choshu role for Tanahashi.
And he wants to wrestle
Choshu in 1990.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that was
91. Was it 91?
It was the first one, like where he went winless and put over
exactly. Yeah, the first one. But I'm just sure it was 90 or 91. Doesn't matter.
The point is, he's gonna want to wrestle Takeshita. as well as the president.
Sure.
Like you think he doesn't want a rematch of that?
Of course.
And to be honest with you, Strig, let's say he does just so happen to get in this tournament. You can't write out him going on a run and being one of the players, in my opinion. Like, you look at this B block. Who among these people are Dome main event level people? Be honest with yourself here.
The one that comes the closest would be Yota Tsuji.
I think yes, but the problem is that he already won the cup this year.
Yeah.
That's why I put him. Like, if we're talking predictions, I don't think he'll win because they already gave him his accomplishment overall.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds insane to say, but with the final coming on the anniversary of his debut, I think Takeshita has a strong shot to at least make the final.
Ooh. Who would he face from Block A?
I think Umino is going to win the tournament. Like, long story short.
Umino over Takeshita makes sense, too.
Yeah. Tsuji got the cup, and Umino gets the G1. I think that really plays in line with what they see them.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll have maybe Umino will have a time limit draw with Naito. You know, like Naito likes long matches in the G1, so he could have a time limit draw in the G1 and then win the tournament, go against Naito in the... Yeah.
How are they going to get by Naito? Because remember, we have to get 3 people to advance from each block, too, in this one. So who are the 3 guys in A block you think could advance?
Naito, Umino, Sanada, or Zack. Zack.
Yeah. I can see Jake scorching his way in.
Maybe.
But I think, but to be honest, if he beats Naito, he really doesn't need to go on a run. Like, you know, if he gets his win back there.
That's right.
So yeah, you can put Zack in. Yeah.
So block B would be Kakeshita, Tsuji, and Finlay?
Yeah, Finlay, they're so weird about. Like, he's another one that's like so start and stop like every year. I could, again, Tanahashi in that spot, like getting one last run.
Sure.
You know, that could be a great way. I think that's how I booked it when I was doing that show. I had Takeshita be the number 1 seed in B block. And the final, or like semifinal, comes down to Tsuji versus Tana, and Tsuji gets a huge win to eliminate him.
The funny thing about Block B is you got all 3 Never champions in this block. Jeff Cobb, the TV champion, Hinare, the actual Never champion, and Finlay, the global champion.
Yeah, this is mid-card.
Who is superior? Yeah, mid-card paradise.
Yeah, that's what this block is. Like, and I think that's why I saw a lot of reactions saying A block was better than B block. But I don't think so. The problem is that they've got Naito, and that means star power. And B block, Takeshita is fantastic. But again, it would be so crazy for him to advance in the tournament. I mean, if they really want to be ballsy.
I mean, if what you say comes true, Tanahashi has no chances to advance. If he falls to Tsuji and to Narita and maybe to Umura.
I mean, and Narita and Uemura aren't going to have a lot of wins in this tournament, in my opinion. Like I said, so he can get past them. They could do. The thing is, we don't know how they're going to handle this booking wise. This is a first time format. Is there going to be a huge glut of people alive on the last day? You know, is that going to be like 4-way tie and then Tanahashi somehow like scoots in? We just don't know overall. So we'll see again. But my early prediction, again, we'll have to see the last night of the tournament before we totally say. But even then, it's not as cut and dry as in years past with this format, with the semifinals. But my gut's saying Shota and Takeshita on there. And I think that you could tell a great story, again, with Takeshita on the anniversary. I think that would be a great thing. The odds are so low. To me, Shota versus Naito is not a great Dome main event, to be honest. They haven't built him up that well.
What would be a better one right now?
That's the problem. There are no answers to that. What about Takeshita? AEW politics, Takeshita into the Dome main event.
I can totally see Takeshita being in the global title match.
Yeah, that's probably more likely. But I mean, honestly though, if you look at it, if you just were purely about getting the biggest match possible, Is Takeshita lower than Umino?
I think for the New Japan home crowd, he is.
Yeah. Okay. So,
because I wouldn't say that any AEW guy is highly up on the radar of the regular New Japan viewer.
His love for the fans will be because of his DDT. Like, it won't have anything to do with AEW.
Yeah.
Like, among the New Japan fans. But I do think he has a reputation. He got a great reaction when they announced him.
Yeah, he did. Yes, that's true. It's true.
Yeah. It's like, AEW is irrelevant to this, like, the Japanese fan base to me. But he does have a great reputation. Remember, he wrestled Tanahashi when he was a rookie.
That's right.
So I think he's got some sway with the crowd, but I think Umino, the safe bet is Umino. To me, like it makes too much sense to me. Tsuji gets the cup, Umino gets the G1, and that could be a great crowning moment if they want to go that way with him. I also think it's possible Tsuji making the finals, since you kind of brought up the Choshu deal. Remember the ending of that tournament ended with Chono versus Muto and all of the Three Musketeers together. So if they wanted to recreate that moment, having Tsuji beat Takeshita, which is a part of his story as well, talking about getting rid of the outsiders with Mox and all that, or fighting the outsiders. So he finally vanquishes Takeshita and faces Umino in the finals. They could do a redo of the original Three Musketeers moment and have them all together at the end, and Umino gets to go to the Dome.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We'll see about that. I'm going to talk about that when the tournament closes in, because we'll have the final lineups then as well.
Yeah.
And, of course, the winner, as you said, is going to get the title shot in the Tokyo Dome. That's been the tradition for years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is New Japan Pro Wrestling for now. A show that had an influence from New Japan Pro Wrestling happened on the 22nd, with the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion being in the main event of Bloodsport Bushido, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport Bushido in Sumo Hall. And we talked about shows that bomb, Dylan.
At least they tell us how many people are there.
Yeah. I mean, Sumo Hall was visibly very empty, but I don't know if anyone expected anything else. Given the show itself, that it was just placed as a singular show without any, build-up or anything. They did a press conference, yes. And B, because of the expensive tickets. So I really did not expect this to do well, and so I can't say that I was in any way disappointed by the draw.
No, and they got the Abima stuff on there as well.
Yeah, and plus they sold most of the floor seats close to the ring. Those are the most expensive tickets, of course.
Yeah.
So, should be fine.
I'm sure Josh had this planned out.
Yeah.
From the beginning to where this worked out. I mean, it was a really bold move to run Sumo Hall, for the first time ever on here, and that didn't stop them. They were determined to do this, and obviously numbers wise. If they do this again next year, which I hope they do, and I think they should, I just think they should run a different venue, run something smaller. But again, if they made it work, God bless them overall on that. But definitely not a packed Ryogoku, to say the least.
Yeah, so the show has a rating of 8.27 on Cage Match, and while I thought the back end of the card was really good, there were some matches on this card that I really don't think were any good. Eric Hammer versus Takuya Nomura, for example. Funaki versus Davey Boy had some nice exchanges on the mat, but other than that, really not that interesting. Quinton Jackson versus Hideki Sekine sucked. Jackson's punches looked so awful. He's that MMA guy that comes in and really doesn't really know how to throw pro wrestling punches. You clearly saw that when he tried to attack Zekine's midsection with these weird-ass fake punches.
Strigga, is that a criticism of Rampage, or is it a criticism of TNA? Because he was in the main event Mafia.
It's a criticism of TNA, of course.
Okay, good. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. So the women's match, Konami versus Maya Fukuda. Maya Fukuda is just such a disappointment.
She's gonna be leaving soon. GLEAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, July 1st.
She never did anything.
No, she didn't. But still, this is better than her shoot fight that she had.
Good for her.
Yeah, at least she didn't get obliterated.
Not a high bar to cross.
Yeah, she didn't get completely destroyed in this match. It just was not a good match, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, but other than that, I was a bit disappointed by Fuminori Abe and Iizuka only getting 4 minutes in the opener. Other than that, was really good. Sakuraba versus Santino Marella had some great exchanges like that.
Match of the night.
Yeah, it was very, very good, actually. Ozuki versus Timothy Thatcher was a good match, too. Hideki Suzuki versus Eric Hammer was much better than Eric Hammer's first match. Really liked the finish with Hideki not letting go of the submission there. And the face kick before that, of course, too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then the bloodbath between Moxley and Josh Barnett was awesome as well. Great visual. But I will agree with you that Sakuraba and Santino Marella was the best match.
So here's the thing with this show in general. As a show, I love the concept of it. I think this is a lot better than the recent Bloodsports in America. But some of the matches, and particularly the opener and the main event, I would have levied this criticism towards, because I really liked both of them as pro wrestling matches. But when I'm watching this show, I have an added element of grading realism on certain things. So that really does a lot of harm to the main event when you get such an obvious blading of Moxley. And the swing into the post, which was a great spot, but did not hit his head at all on there. So you're doing that in there. The finishing stretch was really great. They had a lot of fire in there. And then Moxley is like, the strikes he threw were not very believable, in my opinion. I just think that as a pro wrestling match, that match ruled. As a shoot style match, it didn't grab me the same way that.
The finish was really weak.
Yeah, and the stuff was just pro wrestling pilled with the blade job and everything. Which, I mean, he bled a lot. Like, if we're grading on the Muto scale, again though, as a match this ruled. As a shoot style match, it didn't. Like, once you added that element of trying to grade for realism, I think it fell short. Whereas Santino and Sakuraba was not just a great match. It had charisma. It had vibes. You had Sakuraba doing the Cobra pose.
That was so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and some great work. Like Santino, I think him having a background is something we all knew. Mm-hmm. It's just we've never actually seen it in action. And now that we've seen it, it's like, damn, this guy's really freaking good, at the end of the day. The opener was a really strong, like you said, I agree with you. It should have had more time. Abe selling. I thought his match with Seigo was a lot better. We're going to talk about later on All Japan.
The Seigo match ruled.
And I think, in general, Abe is a better fit for pro-style wrestling than shoot-style because he has too much cartoonish energy to him, which is great and why we love him a lot. But, again, I thought Iizuka was a lot better and more realistic in that match, in my opinion, which was still a very fun match. I would recommend it. The problem with Funaki and Davey Boy, besides being boring, ultimately, is that this was basically the exact same kind of match Hideki and Sato had at the start, except worse. So everything they did was not as good. Besides the finish. The finish was great, where he transitioned from the sharpshooter into the heel hook. Yeah, the show itself, I wasn't a big fan of Suzuki and Thatcher. Again, this played into Suzuki style more than Thatcher style, like too cartoonish facial expressions that doesn't appeal to me personally for this kind of show. I don't even like it in pro style, to be honest. With Minoru does it, but still, the show itself, it's one of those shows, again, I would say it's almost like a vibe show in a lot of ways. Not in the same way of like the Despy show where the crowd was raucous. It was that indie wrestling energy. Like nobody gave a crap about realism. It was goofy and cartoonish and everyone loved it. But as a top to bottom show, I would say the worst matches were the Thatcher and Suzuki match or the women's match or Davey and Funaki. And Jackson is Shrek was, that wasn't good either. But the thing is, those matches moved so fast that it didn't really impact anything for me. And the high end stuff was not only really good, but it was very unique. overall, with the main event and the Sakuraba and Santino match being the ones I would recommend. Even though, again, I did have some gripes about the main event, realistically, it was still a fantastic match. So if you really look at the show top to bottom, and along with the segment they had that somehow Ibushi was there for with Akira Maeda and Fujiwara, that was a great moment. Fujiwara deserves it, obviously. I thought top to bottom, it's a vibe show that really worked for me overall. So
no, it did work. It did work out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was among the better. Like when you look at the show of the year category, I think this should be on there as a unique thing with some great wrestling, and even the bad stuff was.
Unique, I will say yes, but I think there will be others that I will call out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you like DDT, then the Despy show is better for you.
Absolutely.
If you want regular wrestling, then this show is better for you, in my opinion. Like, because you didn't get any, compare the main event on the Despy show.
That's true, yes.
At the end of the day, that wasn't about match quality. That show, it was totally vibes at the end of the day, and like great stuff involved with it, great hardcore matches and all that. And again, the vibes were immaculate. Like everybody knows that, but this was just totally different. So it depends on what you're looking for. And I think among this style, it's something at least memorable. If you look at outside of these special shows that we're bringing up, where would you even look? Because a lot of the shows, top to bottom, even so, we got a couple of bad matches on this show, or matches that we didn't like that much. But if you look at every other show, pretty much the first half of the card is all matches that are easily skippable.
Yes, that's true.
So it has to be up there for me. I agree with the rating. Cage match. I think it's worthy, and I liked it ultimately. It could have been better, though.
That is Bloodsport Bushido. Another show that happened on the same day was Stardom, the Conversion in Yoyogi National Stadium number 2, drawing 1,654 fans. Before the show, Dylan, there were a lot of Stardom fans up in arms about the name of the show, especially because Stardom now is a subsidiary of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this name, this name caught, or this name of the show rubbed many people the wrong way. And I specifically want to go back to, once again, shouting out Post Pereso. Karen Peterson was on there saying that she had real trouble being a Stardom fan in the recent weeks and months. And so this name came up and people imagined this to be somewhat of a show that changes Stardom from what it used to be. But what did they really converse on this show?
It didn't. Yeah. Like, that's the thing about it. It actually didn't overall.
I mean, they did this losing unit must split match, which wasn't really a losing unit must split match because, yes, every member of Queen's Quest has to leave Queen's Quest now, but Queen's Quest would still stay around with Saya Kamitani being the only one left. Oedo Tai, a staple of Stardom for over 10 years now, still stays around with an incarnation that is not very good. When I'm looking at the names that I see here with Natsuko Tora, Rina, and Ruaka, man, then they had this weird mid-match turn and mid-match return from
totally nonsensical.
Momo Watanabe.
Yeah.
Yes, so I don't know. I was not a big fan of this match. The middle portion of the show especially was a drag to me, I want to say. The tag match with Amisure and Shuri against Mayu Matani and Momokogo really looked good on paper, but they had all these weird items they used in the match that made it like a comical goof fest.
Okay, so let me stop you right there, because you told me off the air that you didn't know the stipulation of the unit match. You thought it was just disband match.
Exactly. I thought it was just a disband match.
Okay,
and then I read up on the stipulation, because when I saw the match and I saw, okay, Oedo Tai won, Queen's Quest is finished. I thought, okay, that's good. But then I read that Queen's Quest is still going to stay around, so what exactly did Oedo Tai accomplish there?
See, that match went through a number of different changes. At first, it was going to be a loser disband match, and the fans were pissed. Like, they didn't like that. So then they did it where, okay, it's not a loser disband match. It was whoever loses the fall is eliminated from their group. Mm-hmm. And then they did an angle where Tora was like, you didn't read the contract. I said one person would stay in the group, but everyone else gets eliminated.
Why would you want that?
Because they didn't want to disband the group because the fans got mad. Like, that's the real reason. Like, if the fans hadn't been so mad about it, they would have just done the disband match, which some would argue they should have just done anyway. But still, I mean, I don't mind it. It gives a new look for Kamitani, and they're eliminating all these other people and letting them move on from Queen's Quest. I would have preferred if a whiter tide left. But another thing, the tag match you were saying was goofy. This was known that this match was to set up the movie, like Mayu's movie. Yeah. They had her actress who actually did spots in the match, Anna Hirai, in there. Shuri was portraying Kagetsu as she did in the movie. You had Kogo wrestling in a suit for some reason.
She was the GM version.
Yeah, it was a bit lost on me watching the match, but that's like. Again, that was like that match would have worked on the Despy show. I think.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But give it up to Anna Hirai. She has potential as fake Mayu.
Yeah. I want to agree with you that this match did not really work out on this particular show, to me at least. Maybe I want to go with a cage match in mates. I want to say maybe the tag title match was the best match of the show.
The thing is, FCC are one of the best tag teams in wrestling. They should always be exactly. Anyone. They should always be the Goddesses champions and having these great matches. Even they should be higher on the card instead of the opener. But
it did so much for Hanan, but specifically for Saya Ida. She looked so amazing in this match, and she always had it in her. But she really didn't get the chances to. But this one, in the opener, she looked really great.
That is one good thing about where they're at right now. I think there's a lot of negativity on Stardom at the moment, for good reason, I would say. But one of the good things about it is that things are so up in the air that you have room for people to grow and like move up the card a little bit. I don't know if that'll happen for her in particular because we've seen her have chances for it, but she did wrestle good overall. And this to me reminded me of like a Dragon Gate style tag match in a lot of ways, where it was so action packed between all four women that they had a lot of good stuff here, good tag team moves. But FWC continues to be among the best tag teams, and I was so happy that they're the champions right now. They deserve it, and I think either that match or the main event was the best match on the show.
Yeah, main event was very good too, with Xena really showing up to work. Did a lot of great power stuff with Maika. Maika, once again, had a good title defense. I think she's going to wrestle Tomoka Inaba in JTO next.
And Tora. That's gonna be a triple
and Tora, of course, yes.
Yeah, that match isn't going to be good.
No.
Yeah, her reign hasn't been good in general, but this was the best part of it so far, which was something I don't think anybody expected. Coming in, Xena has not been a fantastic performer or somebody that's really lit the world on fire, but here, I thought she really just put everything she had to make this match as great as it could be.
I thought she was very convincing as the towering heel above Maika. That worked out.
I think they kind of need that player since Megan's not here anymore.
That's right.
I think they need that kind of player, and I think she did a great job of selling herself as like, hey, I can be, at that spot. And Maika, nobody doubts her work, I would say. Her wrestling skills are very strong. But she is not a great red belt champion, and continues to not be. Unfortunately, she's been in a terrible position that she's been put in with all the disarray that she's dealt with.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's always going to overshadow this reign.
Exactly. So she's really struggling on that end. But the match was good, and again, they have a lot of talent on this roster. This show in Yoyogi. 1,650 fans? That's not bad.
Yeah.
I thought it might be lower, but this did better than when New Japan was there last month for the Best of Super Junior.
That's right.
And for a weak challenger, with all due respect to Xena, she hasn't been pushed at that level. And I thought they did a really good job. They got some buzz for this show. I think the unit match was really the big main event on the show ultimately. to a lot of fans, but I agree that this match was better. And even the white belt, which had a surprise finish.
It did a little less than last year's Stardom Yo-Yoga show. Remember with the big cage match they had?
Yeah.
The 12-person tag match. That was a really big main event.
Yeah, I think they tried to recapture that with this, and we weren't as. I think me and you both were not as in love with that cage match as some people were. Like a lot of the Stardom fans thought that was a match of the year level match. I liked it and it was successful ultimately, but I didn't have it that high overall. But still, it was a lot better than this. This one we had here. This was like a complete mess that didn't really even. It led to some new things at least, so I'll give them that. If you look at the show, stuff happened.
Stuff happened. That's correct. So one more thing about the show is the Starlight Kid and Maysara match. I really thought it was very good. Maysara showed up here. I liked that, what she did, like the finish with the rolling tiger suplexes. That was great too. Starlight, of course, coming out later. You mentioned it. So Azumi, Hina, Lady C, and Miyu Amasaki had to leave the group because of the stipulation. And God's Eye came to the ring and said, and offered them to be a member of their group. Starlight Kid came and said that she wants to form a new group with Azumi and Amasaki, and as well, and Maysara and Suzuki. Right, they also came out and said they are interested in going to this new group, so that happened storyline-wise. And one more title change, the only title change on this card is, you mentioned the red belt champion being on Micah.
Oh, one thing real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to bring one point on the high-speed match. At the end, they had a really cool moment where Starlight took off her wrist thing and had the same stuff as Sarah's stuff, and they gave her a mask. So so that they're forming the new group with those girls in there, and I thought it was really cool and well done. Like in addition to the match as well, I thought that was really nice.
And the most interesting decision of the card was Sendai Girls Mika Iwata, the reigning Sendai Girls champion, defeating Saori Ano for the Wonder of Stardom title, which brought out Natsupoi after the match, who was incredibly disappointed in Ano losing the title to an outsider. It was longer than Mika Iwata's usual matches that I'm used to in Sendai Girls, but of course this is a big Stardom show, so they are going to have longer matches. But still, though, in this longer match, I thought she could really hang with Saori Ano as well. I'm interested to see where this goes with Iwata.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shocking win. Iwata's not even booked that well, even in her home company, let alone as the champion. Let alone getting wins here over Ano. So my guess would be Ano wins it back at a Sendai show, but I'm for it. Mika's a great wrestler, so I would love to see Iwata do some more stuff with it. I personally wasn't in love with Ano's white belt reign either, to be perfectly honest. She has a little bit of the same excuse Micah has, that with so much going on, it's hard to really be in love with anything that she does. But I didn't think she was performing as great. Last year, I thought she was one of the top performers in Joshi, and I don't think she's reached this level as the white belt champion. So I'm good for a shakeup. I'd like to see what they do with Iwata. I mean, look at all these fresh matches that she could have if they let her go wild, or maybe if she does lose, maybe this is going to be a setup for her to be in the 5-star Grand Prix, which they've done this weird rollout with the 4 blocks,
28 participants, Dylan.
And that's one thing. I mean, it's 4 blocks, so it's the blocks themselves are not large, 6 matches apiece, but they only announced half of the group. They announced 4 people before blocks, but 3 of them are open. It's really goofy at the end of the day. What I
like about this block system is that they have champions, or they had champions when they announced it. Yeah. Micah as the red belt champion, Mayu Iwatani as the IWGP champion, Saori Ano was the white belt champion at that point, and Suzuki the defending 5-star Grand Prix champion. So I like that. Yeah, but 828 sounds a lot. It's going to be a long tournament again. And the naming of the block, I mean, Red A and Red B, that's not really very creative.
Well, what do you want him to do? Bring him in catch the wave style? Like crazy block?
Dylan, I want to bring up a crazy concept. There is more colors than blue and red.
That's true. They are primary colors, though. So you want green block to get a... You want
green
yellow block?
Yes.
White block, black block, pink block. You got the whole...
Hana will obviously be the winner of block yellow.
Okay. As I said, that could be something we look at. Like, determine blocks solely by colors that they wear. Like, of their attire. But yeah, no, I like the 4-block system. I will stay on this island that I am not against the 4 blocks at all. It lets you have more people without it being overwhelming in terms of number of matches because the blocks are so small. I would have rather it been maybe an even number per block, like 6 maybe instead of 7. That would have dropped it to 24. 5 matches apiece. I think you could do a lot more with that. But my main issue is that they only announced half of the field at the start. They should have announced all of the field at the start. It doesn't make any sense, but maybe it's one of these edicts that the president has. He really loves making things known to people. Good for Sendai and Iwata for not just saying, "Hey, sure, we'll job out our main champion to your wrestler." They said, "No, she's the champion. She needs to get a win at least." I like that. I like that they stood up to the bigger company.
Good. Yeah. So what is next for Stardom is a show in Kurikan Hall on the 29th, this coming weekend, with 3 title matches. High-speed titles, Saya Kamitani defends against Fukigen Death. Future of Stardom title, Rina goes against Diana's Nanami. And this is looking really great, FWC defending the Goddesses of Stardom title against Shuri and Konami.
Yeah, they said that on the show as well, that they nominated them to be the challengers, which is very, like, a freaking awesome match. There's no way that match will not rule overall. So I'm all for it, and I can't wait to see that match for sure. Hopefully it leads to some big things. Again, the thing about Stardom that's kind of cool is that things are so open. Like, there's kind of like nobody who's the top players right now. Like, so everybody has the chance to be, depending on where they go. But I definitely think that this is all going to lead, and that match will be great. I personally hope FWC wins, retains the title, but Shuri and Konami would be a fine choice to hold belts as well. I think this whole thing is going to build up, though, to what they probably were going to build up to last year, which is Tall Saya winning the tournament and then winning the red belt at the end of the year. And they're already starting that run. And I could easily see it coming down to Saya versus Momo.
Especially with her being on her own now in Queen's Quest. I think that's the foundation of her winning.
Yeah, and I think it'll come down to Saya versus Momo. Like, as the ending, like,
obviously
overcoming her main villain. Yeah. And then finally coming back to win the red belt. And that's who they've wanted all along, to be the top star of the company. So they're going to get to that. And Micah's run continues. Again, there's not a lot of steam behind it, but it's not... We kind of talked about it on the last episode. All of the hype that Marigold got for EO coming in totally overshadowed because they were on, if not the same day, like within very close proximity to each other. That totally overshadowed the 5-star Grand Prix announcement and the announcement of the show as well. The match is on here. So... The cloud is still over this company, but I don't think it's as terrible as some people say. I think the roster, if you look at the actual roster of talent,
it could have been much worse with Marigold rolling out if they had gotten, let's say, not only 5 of Stardom's roster, but 4 or 5 more. Let's say Starlight Kid. Momo, Azumi, that would have been much worse.
If you compare the two rosters, if you stack up Marigold and Stardom's roster, Stardom's roster is much, much deeper than Marigold's in terms of pure talent. Like how they use them is questionable, for sure. And Okada, the jury's out on him. I can't say I've been impressed with a lot of his moves in general. But if you just look at the talent level of this company, it's so high that even though they're screwing up a lot, and it's kind of what they did last year, even though that did do tremendous damage, they screwed up so much that things ended up being how they ended up being. But it's going to be really hard to not have some entertaining stuff. Even this conversion show, like you said, the middle of the card left some things to be desired for sure. But they still had a couple of great matches in the opener and a couple of great matches to end the show. So, if you're going to do that, I think they could get there. They could get by with this. Just hopefully Okada can do better, running the company. And, one other thing, I want to shout out the Patreon right now, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat, because I did a show featuring another Stardom wrestler, which was the Ice Ribbon show, After the Rain, which featured Mayu Iwatani defending the IWGP belt versus Suka, which I would like to wish a get well soon after her sad injury in the match, unfortunately, which Mayu responded by nearly trying to shake the head of the dislocated elbow that she had.
Of course Mayu would do that.
Yeah, and then Suka, she tried. She was like, all right,
she tried, sure. Yes.
But then Mayu was like, oh crap, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let me do the left hand now. But yeah, like I said, that was a sad thing. But I reviewed the whole show, the Ice Ribbon. I watched it live. So check that out on the Patreon as well. That was an interesting move to have Mayu and Ice Ribbon going in there. And they're already kind of teasing that maybe they'll do another match in the future to kind of make up for this one, which was a great match before the injury. It was like after 15 minutes or so into the match, they had the sad injury, of course. So very bad ending, to that match, but still a great concept.
And it made for a good house for Ice Ribbon. Over 1,000 fans.
Yeah, that was their biggest in like 5 years in Korakuen. So it clearly made a difference drawing-wise on there. And I bet more people probably saw that show that ordered it because of that match specifically than have watched Ice Ribbon in a long time.
Yep.
And Okada got heat for his comments on there where he was like, yeah, everyone's mad that Mayu's not main eventing that Ice Ribbon show, but who cares about card placement at the end of the day? Like, look at Starlight Kid and Azumi all together. They wrestled and they probably felt like they had the match of the show, and I'm happy with it. And everyone was like, why are you saying this stupid stuff, Okada? There. But another good thing about them, Ice Ribbon stood on business. They had their titles go over the Stardom title on the show.
Good.
Yeah. We see it with Sendai working with Stardom. We're seeing Stardom. They don't have the bully tendencies that New Japan has when working with other companies.
If you look at Sayaka Mitani too, she's in the Catch the Wave tournament. The last match she lost to Risa Serra there, so they don't have these tendencies.
Yeah, they're doing a lot better for sure. So I'll give them credit for that, even though Okada was dumb for saying that for sure. But again, I'm not out on the company, but I'm definitely not in. Like right now, to say the least, it's 50-50.
One of the weirdest phases that they have had in their existence, I think. I think what Karen said is, you can relate to that, because what is the essence and what is the core of the company right now? That is very hard to grasp, I think.
Yeah, they're still finding it for sure. And I think, like, in terms of what I've seen, English-speaking response to Stardom right now is more negative than positive. Whereas, like, Marigold, if you're going to compare them,
I also think it's at the lowest in years.
Well, and we talked about it, before when I mentioned that you weren't that into Stardom. 2 years ago, people would ask me all the time, man, why don't you guys talk about Stardom more? Like, Strigga doesn't want to. Like, he watches too much other wrestling right now.
Yeah, yes.
But now nobody asks me about that, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. But again, there's interesting things that could be had, but will they do it? We don't have the confidence for that. And again, if you compare them to 2 years ago, it's so far worse. Like, in every possible way than it was back then when Shuri was the champion. And I think it's going to be a hard thing to grasp. Like, for them, how are they going to overcome losing all of these people overall? Because it really feels like they've got great talent, but the star power is not fully there. And the ones they do have, like Shuri and Mayu, they're not being used like that. So that's one thing that's really kind of confuses me. I think you would want somebody right now, if I were in charge, I'd want that kind of person, whether it's Mayu or Shuri, maybe even Nakano. Like, somebody that's stable, like, stabilize this belt and, like, move forward, because Micah's been struggling and put in a hard position. But again, it's not. I don't think this number shows it's not that bad. Like, from where it could be. It could be worse overall.
It could be. Yeah, agreed. Okay, I think, Dylan, now we have covered all the Bushi Road companies, affiliates. There is, well, Bloodsport is not an affiliate, but they had Moxley on there as the champion. There's one more company that also had New Japan participation on their show. It is Pro Wrestling Noah. It's been already over a week since the show has happened. Grand Ship 2024 in Yokohama, drawing 1,815 with Kaito Kiyomiya versus Gabe Kidd in the main event. I thought a very weak main event because there was no chance Gabe Kidd would be winning the title. Match though was good. I liked Gabe going crazy on Kaito Kiyomiya and Kaito Kiyomiya having to fight back, but the hook of the challenger being maybe able to win the title was just not there for me, so I wasn't really interested in the match at all. Marufuji and Sugiura took the tag title from Anthony Green and Jack Morris. The match itself was fine, I thought. What was good about this match, in my opinion, was that they managed to put Green and Morris on a similar level as Marufuji and Sugiura. That's what they accomplished with this feud, even though they lost. Daga versus Starboy Charlie was not very good. It was a lot of spots.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of spots and just stuff. Yeah.
Time to send him back to the Indies, I think.
I think he's a good. He can be a good wrestler, but he's not there yet. Not on this level.
Yeah.
Other than that, there really wasn't a lot of good matches on this card. This undercard was a drag, man.
Now remember my statement earlier talking about Bloodsport with the undercard.
Yeah.
This is example A.
Yeah, the biggest news of that undercard was that Ulka Sasaki challenged Hayata to a national title match, and that's what I said about Ulka Sasaki on our last show or 2 shows ago. I'm afraid that they might be hot-shotting him, and here we are. We are. Yeah, the biggest news of this show, obviously, is that AJ Styles is coming in to the big show on July 13th, and I really felt stupid that I did not think about AJ Styles when we tried to figure out who would be the WWE announcement before we recorded our last show, Dylan. With AJ Styles obviously having the Japan link with his New Japan past. So he's being brought into Destination 2024 for Budokan. Right now they have announced that Styles and Marufuji is not going to be the main event, and Kiyomiya versus Yoichi is going to be the main event. But until that happens, I'm going to remain skeptical.
Yeah, see, we didn't even talk about the WWE announcement because we were so close to the show. And we actually knew that, unlike the G1 announcements, which was sprung on us. We knew it was going to happen the next day, so we could wait to this episode to talk about it, whatever it would be. If you want, again, not to plug too much, but the Patreon, I did a full review of the show after it happened. So if you want the full card rundown, including the lame undercard, I talked about all the matches on the show. So you can listen to that in full. In terms of AJ, I'd rather him wrestle somebody else, to be honest. Besides Marufuji. I would rather be Sugiura if we're going to pick one of the tag team champions. But in 2006, man, this would have been my legendary epic match. Wrestler of the years.
Even in 2014, 10 years ago, this would have been a great match. AJ Styles was on his New Japan run. Marufuji was still going strong, or stronger than he is now. Yeah. This would have been a great, great match. But unfortunately, it's 2024, and I can't tell you how good AJ Styles is right now, but I can tell you the Marufuji. Singles matches, I don't know, man. I wouldn't put him in there anymore, but obviously, this is a big show. They have to sell tickets to Budokan, and Marufuji still is one of the biggest stars. Putting him against AJ Styles is probably what they thought draws the most. And so they did that.
I wonder why not Nakamura, if instead of AJ. I mean, I'm cool with it, AJ. I think AJ is a really good wrestler. To be honest, still, he's obviously older. He's not He's not where he was in 06, obviously. That's silly to think, but like he's a very talented guy. I mean, he was just doing stuff. He was in their main events like not that long ago. It's against Cody. Like actually, like he had that feud with Cody. Mm-hmm. So he's doing stuff there. A lot of people really enjoyed their one match they had. The hardcore match. I mean, that was the one where the French fans went so crazy, like in that match, singing their songs over him, which WWE fans tend to love to do, is sing during all their matches these days. But a lot of people like that. I think he's a really talented guy. He was one of my idols, like going into wrestling, like somebody I really aspired to. I wish I could be like him. So I have a soft spot for him always. And obviously, his New Japan run was very well regarded by virtually everyone.
That's right.
So he's a guy that has some legacy in Japan. I like the move. I mean, like I said, I think if I were thinking about it from a business level, I would have picked Nakamura. But from a fan level, I much prefer AJ here. And it's probably something he would want to do as well, like face a guy. They've never crossed paths in a singles match before at all, like ever in their careers.
That's right. It's a fresh match, yeah.
Yeah, so I like that.
And I was under the impression that they might have wrestled before in New Japan, but Marufuji was not in the same block as AJ in the G1.
That's right. Yeah, never even before that. Like in the old days. AJ's got a little bit of a run. I mean, he was in 0-1, like way back, like early on in his career.
Way back.
Yeah. It was like low-key, Paul London, those guys in 0-1.
Machine Guns.
Yeah, Machine Guns were there as well. Good point. All the cool wrestlers were at 0-1 back then. Joe was there as well.
0-1 Max was there.
Yeah, 0-1 Max, correct.
Joe was in before it was 0-1 Max even.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Like I said, look at that. You got everybody.
OGZ1 member. King Joe.
That's right. King Joe. Yep, you're totally right on that. But yeah, Styles has a little bit of a legacy in Japan. I think people remember the New Japan run, but it's easy to forget. Man, that was a long time ago.
10 years is a long time in pro wrestling. Usually, there's a time span with people being pro wrestling fans, especially if you're coming in on such a hot streak as New Japan has been from, say, 2014 until 2018. There's casuals coming in, and they will drop out when something in their life happens, maybe like they're getting married, women get children. Sometimes they'll just drop out and find something else. And even if they don't fit to any of these cases, maybe they'll find a new hobby to go after and they drop pro wrestling. So banking on something that happened 10 years ago is definitely a risk.
His last match in New Japan was in 2016. Mm-hmm. Like, that was at the very beginning of the year. Like, because remember, they did the match with Nakamura where they did the fist bump.
Yeah. New Year's Dash.
Then Omega turned on him at New Year's Dash there. So, like, that's it. That was it. Like, that was 2016. That's before I was on this show. Like, that's when that happened.
Wait, pro wrestling existed before you were on this show?
I mean, that's when it all started, many people say. But, that's a common comment I get as well. But no, it's a long time. And I think
Dylan brought pro wrestling out of the bingo halls.
Well, a lot of people take credit for that, as I understand it. Out of the bar rooms and all that. But no. But still, AJ, great wrestler. I always have a soft spot for him. He's kind of like the American version of BB Hulk to me, where it's like even if he were to break down, I'd still secretly still like him, even if I think he doesn't have it anymore. But I do think he has it. I think it's going to hint. The thing with Marufuji, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again here. I'm not saying he's not broken down and not old and not all of that. I've always felt with him, the thing that holds him back is his motivation more than anything with his body. Because his match with Ospreay last year was a good match. He was motivated for that at the end of the day. He had the match, the match with Jake was a really strong match that they had last year for the belt. If he's motivated, he can bring it. And hopefully he's motivated for this. And if so,
Hopefully,
then it's going to be a good match.
I mean, if he's not motivated for such a big match on such a big stage, what is he even doing?
Well, I think he will be. I think this match is going to be good, honestly. I don't think it'll be, again, like those matches he had against Ospreay and Jake were not match of the year level to me, but they were good. The match with Jake was really good, I thought. So I think he's going to be a strong player. He's going to bring it, and AJ, it'll be something different for him. Again, obviously, I made this before. It's clear that, like, Abima is desperately trying to get just a semblance of Japanese fans to possibly care about WWE, which is very hard based on their ratings.
I am not positive that this match will change anything.
I don't know either, but at least they're trying. Again, it's always the WWE thing. Everyone's worried about them, but if you look at the numbers of their shows are so low that it's like they have no footprint. And remember, they're doing that tour next month as well. They're trying to get people to possibly make this Japanese tour work on there, and they've got EO, they've got AJ. We'll see. I'm pretty skeptical. Do you think it'll be?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said earlier, I just want to clarify what you said. You think it's possible that they main event instead of the title match still?
I think it's possible.
They did announce it as the main event.
I know.
But you just think they're just going to go back on it?
I wouldn't rule it out. It's Kaito and Noah.
That's true. What do you think about him coming back as Yoichi instead of Inamura?
I wonder why that is.
No clue.
I mean,
they want people to forget that he was a job guy when he was Inamura. That's what this excursion was all about. Like, let's be honest. That
you're right.
It didn't serve him any good to go there and do nothing for however long he was there, except get him out of. This is what I said they should have done with Kaito. Like, move him away for a year or so, make people forget about what they've done to him, and then come back. And they're trying that with him.
And I don't know what's going to happen. Yoichi is going to lose.
Exactly. So, we're going to remind you again that he is actually still a job guy.
So he has to come back to Europe and have great matches. I'm fine with that.
Did he do that?
Yeah, he had great matches in Europe, yeah.
I didn't hear any butts for his Europe.
Oh, I saw the one with Ilya Bloom on the... When was it? Wait a sec. It was on Back to the Roots 2024 for WXW, January 20th. I also saw him, not live, but I saw him on the YouTube show for German Wrestling Federation against Tim Stubing. Yeah, he had a great match with I Touch Baha in GWF2. Did not watch the Progress matches, but yeah, the matches that I saw in Germany were really, really, really good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they made a small imprint, but I believe you because he's awesome. He was always one of the greatest. And remember, this is a guy, remember years ago when these two teamed together and beat the team.
You never fail to bring that up, yes.
What do you think I'm going to bring up?
Yeah, they beat the team of Akiyama and Marufuji.
That's right. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. In the Budokan. And it should be brought up. I'm correct to bring it up. Because,
you are absolutely correct, yes.
Yeah, not bringing up would be fucking stupid. So, but unfortunately, they want to avoid that for some reason in Noah, because these guys, and they had so many chances with him to make him the dude. He never even got into an N1. He was at the bottom of the barrel, by the end there when he left on excursion. Was he even in the tournament?
In which one?
The N1.
No, you said he was never in it. Oh my! He was in one, I think.
And he went winless, right?
Yeah, he went winless. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
2023.
Yep, and then he went to the
excursion. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they jobbed him out a bunch and left him to go where he went. He's a great talent. This match should rule. There's no reason this match can't be great. The Kid and Kaito match was a really strong match. Like you said, nobody could buy Kid winning the belt, so it's hard to really get that emotionally into it. But Kaito did a fine job in it, and he's a great wrestler. Everybody knows that. But they're already making a lot of mistakes. How's All Rebellion looking right now?
Yeah, not very good. Inamura in his blog lost to Adam Brooks. Yep. Was never heard of again in Pro Wrestling Noah after the tournament.
Disappeared.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they put him on ice for, however many months it's been, 9 months or whatever, and now they're bringing it back under this new name, and hopefully it works. But I just don't think it's the right way to reintroduce him right into the title mix unless he wins. And then what do you do with Kaito? Then it's like...
Yeah, as you said, All Rebellion doesn't look great right now, and we're scrambling for guys who can carry this company on their backs. And Masaki Tamiya has been great recently. He has been on fire recently. And what is he doing in this card? He's in a 6-man tag match in the mid card.
Yeah, he's great at teaming with Daiki.
Sure.
I mean, second match in, he's not somebody you could count on, and it's not because of him, it's because of their stupid book at the end of the day. And that's the thing. It's like, who are we rallying behind in Noah right now?
I'm rallying behind the Keno versus Yuji Nagata match that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's really random, for sure.
It's so random.
I mean, Keno's great. He's always fun on the YouTube, and all of that. The match could be good. I'm not looking forward to it. Even the card, if you look at those 3 matches, the Keno and Nagata, AJ and Marufuji, and Kaito and Yoichi, that's a good, 3-step card there, to do something with. It's hard. It's hard with them right now because I think that they're, like you said, they're really needing the dude. And I don't think that Kaito is where he is as a direct result of what's happened the last 2 to 3 years. At the end of the year, this is the payoff for that.
We have been through that.
Yeah,
we've been covering it live.
But how do we move forward from that? How does he get to the next chapter? Because the thing is, remember when they started our rebellion, when he won the belt, we were positive on that show.
A red flag is his challengers so far. He was challenged by Gabe Kidd, and now he's challenged by Yoichi, and it's not Marufuji, it's not Sugiura, it's not someone that is a big and valuable name in Pro Wrestling Noah. I don't know.
To be fair, those are guys he's already beaten before. At the end of the day, it's not like they were mountains.
But there was a much different Kaito Kiyomiya, much different reign, much different time.
Yeah, but I just don't think beating those guys means that much anymore in the grand scheme.
What means anything in Noah?
That's the problem with the company. That's why the thing is, it's tough because, again, if Yoichi wins, you sacrifice Kaito. You totally killed this run.
That would be much worse if he would lose instead of Yoichi.
But does Yoichi have upside right now? Because I think if he has any upside, that's more than what Kaito has at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And because if he loses, then he's slotted. He's lost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with this match, ultimately. I like that they're making it the main event. In your step, maybe you'll be proven right at the end.
Maybe not. But this match is one of those cases where I just don't understand why they book it like they do. Because realistically, neither of these guys should lose right now.
Like I said, there's an alternate universe where they're the 2 leaders of the company. And I just don't think they feel like it right now. I mean, Yoichi just got back, so the match is going to be great. Everyone's going to love it and probably talk big about it. The thing is, and another thing that kind of leads me towards Yoichi, Kaito beating Yoichi doesn't actually do anything for Kaito.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Yoichi winning the belt means something to Yoichi at the end of the day. If he were to win. So that's kind of got me thinking that that's a possibility, but it would still be bad because him winning, even going back to Wagner, I think they undercut that title reign a little early, and who knows what's going on with him right now in Mexico. Why did they undercut Keno? Going back further, then it's there's a never-ending story of mistakes that you just look back at with this title. And again, there's nobody who him beating means anything. So I actually don't mind them trying different things. Kid wasn't the right one because he hadn't been established. Like, nothing against his talent. His skills are good in the ring, but he didn't win anything. Like, he's literally won nothing his entire career. And now he's the champion, the challenger. Yoichi, same thing. What has he won to make this a big match ever?
Nothing. He's just
and that's the problem.
He's just returning. That's why he gets the title shot.
Yeah, this back-to-back people that have no qualifications whatsoever to be a title challenger. And I think they're just kind of hanging on for the show and hoping that the AJ and Marufuji deal works out.
Yeah.
And they don't want the backlash that they got in January when Keno wasn't the main event. And so it's kind of like they're not putting that much into it anyway, and just hope that this works out. So we'll see. The card looks good though. If you don't care about booking or anything like that, you just want to watch good matches. This could be a very good card overall. Like, because it looks really like a lot of the matches they've announced are good. I think it would be smart. Again, I think a good idea would be some kind of big grand change with the company. And I think that starts with like all new champions, like type of deal. Like everybody's new, like, get rid of, Daga as junior champion does nothing for anybody. There's no way.
Amakusa has to beat him.
Exactly. Like Amakusa is the person to do that as well. Like get all new champions, like new direction for the company, new era, whatever you want to call it, which we'll talk about a company very briefly that has successfully done that exact thing. And I think that would be a good blueprint to follow. Because right now, like All Rebellion, again, we were excited when they started that. When he beat Wagner for the title, it felt like, okay, I said it feels like, okay, they're finally getting serious with Kaito after all of this. And the follow-up has shown that they're actually not, like that's what they're telling me, that they're actually not any different than they were before with him. And that's a sad thing because it felt like there was hope finally for him. And I just don't know. I just don't know at this point.
Me neither. There's more questions, but we don't have the answers right now. We'll see how this show turns out.
Yeah, that'll be a good thing. If this turns out and Yoichi coming back really electrifies people, just does a great number, then maybe that's something to look at, like going forward. Like, and if it doesn't, if this is another situation like this last show, then I think they're going to be scrambling for answers and they're going to be hitting that panic button.
Oh yeah, the good old Noah panic button. Yeah. Keiji Muto is retired, unfortunately.
And that's the thing you mentioned. There's no answers. Like there's nobody they could go to other than
they brought it up to themselves with going with Keiji Muto. That's their fault.
But like I said, they have no choice now. They have to go with Kaito really because they've booked themselves in this corner. Unless they just want to just say screw it, like we're too far gone. We're going with Inamura and like hope this works. But it's not good. Like, there's no good answers. Like right now is all I'm saying. What do you think of good-looking guys breaking up?
I don't care.
They were one of the few success stories, I would say, in the company. Like Jack Morris is one of their best booked people.
I just don't care about Chelsea, to be honest.
Well, that's totally valid. Like, I'm not arguing with you at all.
And it's a weird call, to be quite honest with you, given the popularity they had.
Yeah, it's not like it's a game changer. Like, it's not like they were the ones that were carrying the ship. I'm not going to be over dramatic about it. But, Jake's run was stable. Like, the group was over. They pushed Jack really well. They had him as double champion for a while. I think it means something to the company. I just, like you said, I don't blame you for not caring about it at all. But where will they go? I don't know. Where will Jake go? Up in the air. We'll see what he does in G1. You think that would take him out of the N1 as well?
What would take about?
Jake?
Yeah. Oh, out of the N1 being in the G1. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a spot opening up at least.
Sure.
Would recommend the Go main event on his Limit Break anniversary show.
That was a good match.
Yeah, that was really good.
Other than that, the show was not that good.
No, and that's the thing with Noah. Like, if you can get the main events are almost always strong. The undercard has a lot of work to do, I would say.
Yeah. So much then for Pro Wrestling Noah. Transitioning to the last topic of this show, you already teased it with All Japan Pro Wrestling. They had, Dylan, I love that show. On Monday, they ran Korakuen Hall in front of 1,235 fans, headlined by a great match between Yuma Anzai and Hideki Suzuki. And this card had so much variety. It started out, of course, with Actress Time and the pre-show tag match, which was fine. I liked it. And then they had this actual opening of the show with Fuminori Abe defeating Seigo Tachibana. And this match ruled so much. Great action throughout the match. And here we saw what you said about Fuminori Abe earlier. He's so much better in a pro wrestling setting. And him and Seigo Tachibana lit Korakuen Hall on fire with the opening. The crowd was so much into this match, as was I. Fuminori Abe winning the title in All Japan Pro Wrestling is just perfect. I love it. And we followed up with an 8-man tag with Hokuto Omori, or do you want to call it Generalissimo Hokuto? Is he like Takada in Hustle now, Dylan? What is the deal with this guy? Hokuto Omori, not too long ago, was wearing a horse mask and bringing some random dude to the ring also wearing a horse mask. And none of these people that he has around now is wearing a horse mask or looks anything like the dude that was wearing a horse mask with him.
That was exactly what I predicted would happen, by the way. That this would get retconned.
I mean, sure.
And they would not matter or play into anything in the future. And
now he is the general of his unit.
I didn't predict that.
That's composed all of the big guys. Like they brought in Cyrus as the X. It's Hartley Jackson and Kuma Arashi. What a weird unit.
And Jack Kennedy as well now.
Oh, Jack Kennedy, sure, yes. They basically squashed Miyahara, Ryo Inoue, Shotaro Ashino, and Zuwama. Whatever that was, it was something. Then we had this great no DQ match between Yuma Aoyagi and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, with Kuroshio just crushing himself with a moonsault from a ladder through the table, or onto the table rather. I love that match. It was so fun. All Asia Tag was really strong. I wasn't too high on Musashi in a singles role when he had the title match against Rising Light. Remember, Dylan, we talked about that match?
Yeah. Yep.
But I really like this tag team with Seki Yoshioka. I think they are onto something. They're onto something with this tag team, and I'm glad that they are the All Asia Tag Champs now. I'm glad that the All Asia Tag title is back to being basically a junior tag team title for All Japan. That's where it really needs to be, because there is no use for another set of heavyweight tag team titles in this company. So this match was really good. And then we had a very fun elimination 6-man tag match 2 with the Saito brothers, Jun, Ray, and Mr. Saito, Naoki Doi, going over the new unit, Elpida, Dylan. They started out the show, actually I forgot that at the beginning of the show, they started out the show very much in Dragon Gate fashion, presenting the new unit with a logo and explaining why they are the unit. That was really good, I thought. They brought Yuma Anzai, Ren Ayabe, Rising Ayato, and Ryuki Honda out to present their new unit. And now we had the Gungear of Anarchy, of course, the callback to the North mythology. And now with Elpida, we're in the Greek realm now, with Elpida being a Greek name that stands for hope. And that's what All Japan is all about with these four guys. They are set to be the future of this company, Ayabe, Hayato, Honda, and Anzai. They are the hope of this company. And so, yeah, I like the 6-man tag as well. And like I said, the main event was great.
Malaka. Yeah, if you're an Assassin's Creed,
know that from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Yes. We were talking about Assassin's Creed before the show, in fact. And anything Greek comes up, and you've talked about the Norse stuff too, which is Valhalla afterwards. So they're going backwards in Assassin's Creed lore in All Japan right now. Even though Odyssey might be.
Sondre, what shit means in Norway and
Sondre, we need to get him on to give us the scoop there. But so much to unpack. This was a great show, first and foremost, for sure. The TV title, I never would have thought the day would come. If you'd come to me a year ago and was like, hey, Abe's beating Seigo for the TV belt in a year, and I'd be like, how did Seigo get that belt in the first place? But secondly, I never thought I'd be sad, but I'm kind of sad. Like, Seigo was a great ship. Like, for this belt. I thought
I'm taking a victory lap right now here, Dylan. I was telling you about Seigo.
Seigo's good.
You heard it. Seigo's good.
Yeah, Seigo proved himself. It really started in the tag league when he really got to show out, teaming with Jiro. But here, I mean, in this title run, he's done a fantastic job. And he was always somebody I looked forward to defending this belt. And I do admit it, I was down on him for a lot early on. I think we could rightfully blame Yoshitatsu for that, being in the Yoshitatsu kingdom.
What an amazing story this guy is, right?
Yeah.
He was at his absolute lowest when Wrestle 1 folded and when Jiro went to America. There was nothing for him to do, so he scrambled around, was working Colliga Pro, Vamos Star, of course had his All Japan undercard stuff always, but like you said it, he was in the Yoshitatsu army. So Jiro came back, and that was his chance, because Jiro got booked with All Japan again, and so Seigo could get into another role, and he made it work for him. He made it totally work for him. This was his one chance to get his foot in a significant role in All Japan Pro Wrestling, and he made it work.
Absolutely. He deserves a ton of credit for making it work the way he had and the hard work he put into. But ultimately, I'm never going to complain about Abe getting some love here. It feels like a great thing for him, too. I have to say, another thing I didn't like about that is like doing it so soon after the junior title match, which, by the way, I thought this was a lot better than his junior match with Hayato. I thought this was actually a big improvement on that. But it was like 1 week later, you just lost one match, and then you're getting another title shot a week later. I thought that could have been handled a bit better, but it's the TV belt. It really doesn't matter that much. Nobody's going to complain. But I just would have liked a little bit, at least give him a little, like a month worth of build to this at least. But still, great match. Crowd was hot the whole show, to be honest. 8-man tag, you said it. The general... whatever. Like
whatever.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with any of this.
I'm sure they find something similarly goofy for Hokuto to do 2 months down the line.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I fully expect this horse match to come back by the end of the year at some point. What do these men have in common, you think, these 5 men?
They're big.
They are.
Monsters.
And Cyrus and Hartley, they had good chemistry together. They seemed like they worked hard and they were a good tag team potential together. Kuma and Omori, that would be great. And somewhere, like, Koji Doi is just, like, in tears right now. Like, why am I not in the Hokuto army? And I feel bad.
Him and Kuma, they are still going as a tag team on the indies. They are Niigata Pro Tag Team Champions, Dylan. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
Well, they bring him into All Japan. Why isn't Kuma bringing the NPW tag belts here?
Man, I'm guessing they don't want to book Koji Doi anymore after his G1 Champion Carnival run.
Even in the G1.
No, Koji Doi should not be in the
G1. He might be better than some of the guys they've got in there.
I'm not sure about that.
They said if it's him or Evil, like I said, I'll go with Koji. This one.
They are not only the Niigata Pro Tag Team Champions, they are also the Kyushu Pro Tag Team Champions.
Yeah.
King of the Indies.
Yeah, the home of Jetway right now, Kyushu Pro.
Right.
Yeah. Always enjoyable promotion, Kyushu Pro. Yuma and Kuroshio, I didn't like that very much. But, it was, the thing is, it just felt like, this rivalry is just like, you can live your American hardcore style match dreams here. And I think they had fun with it, but for me, it's like, I could have done without it. But at least it's something different. That is something I will give them, is that it, much like the other match they had in the Carnival, it was something different, at least. And hopefully this is the end of this feud, because there's no way Aoyagi should be in this rivalry, in my opinion. But it was at least a spectacular blow-off. I loved the All Asia match. Like, they was so freaking good. Yoshioka, man, he's at another level than a lot of these guys here. He's so good. I always say, if you're a wrestler listening to this, he is a key guy, I would say, to look at, because he's not just a high-speed junior guy. He does it in a way that's very unique to him. Like, even the way he throws kicks, is really, similar to only himself. He's not doing the same kind of kicks that everybody else throws. The way he moves around the ring is different. He has a great presence. The footwork is really strong. He's just an excellent pro wrestler.
Yeah, he's very slick.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. I think
and he's only 36 years old. He has lots of ways to go.
And he's a guy that, when he left Noah, like, a lot of people were questioning, like, is this the end of the road for Seiki? But he's really bounced back in this All Japan run. And it feels like this team with Musashi, I totally agree with what you said. And like you said, we talked about it before already, that he's a guy we liked a lot when he was on the Indies. The times we could see him from N-Pro, Michinoku Pro. But it didn't seem like he was ready to be that guy on the bigger stage of All Japan. Yeah. But in this match, he showed that in this team, there is legs to him still, and he does have that talent. So I love that. And also, Sato was really good in this match as well. Again, here, I thought the ending segment with him, Musashi was great. I like that they put Musashi over to get the win. Tamura, they've kind of done a story, where he's a little bit like riled up. You know, he's turning into the angry version of himself. That didn't really get capitalized on him on here, but I think that maybe they could go somewhere with that. And he's a great asset as a power junior guy. The match itself, definitely watch this. This wasn't a good match. It was a great match, people.
Yes.
Watch the All Asia tag match on the show. 6-man tag was just fun. Same thing with the Saitos. The thing about them here, if you watch them at any point this last month, this is not the month where the Saitos are like, being, like the champion carnival finalist, Jun Saito. They're just having fun, and it's awesome. like it's great. They've worked this storyline.
Who would have thought that Doi would be such a great addition to these two?
Oh, and he's fantastic. In the role here, like I said, he just the way the setup made no sense whatsoever. Like, he just walked out randomly. And he's like, "Hey guys," and they're like, "What? It's whatever, fine. He's with us. like go for it."
Imagine if Hokuto Omori had come out.
Right, they might have attacked him right away.
Yeah, because it's not a junior.
Yeah, but then Doi came up with his mother's name was Saito. Her maiden name was Saito. So he's like, "I'm a Saito too now." And they're like, "Hell yeah. Like, let's go." And then at the end of this too, he even said, he's like, "Don't think there's just 3 of us." So another Saito.
Who is the 4th Saito?
Who is the 4th Saito? Do you have predictions on who the 4th? And I also want to mention too, on the cage match profile for the Saito brothers, Naruki Doi is now listed on their tag team page as a part of the team with the other 3. So they're all in cage match lore.
I did that.
You have made it to where he is truly a Saito brother now. But yes, the 4th man, who could it be?
Bring in Super Shiza. He used to be Saito in all caps.
Oh, I would love that so much. I love Super Shiza. Like that.
What about Ryo Saito?
That's right, Ryo Saito, obviously there. He could be like a manager, perhaps. Now, he doesn't wrestle that much anymore, but for a special appearance, you could bring him in for an 8-man tag. What about Doi's current tag team partner as part of the Twin Gate champions? Dragon Kid.
Is he a Saito?
He is now.
He's not.
Why not? Dragon Saito.
Masked Saito.
Yeah, all of them. Who cares? Like, his cousin was named Saito. Like it doesn't matter. Like,
what about the current 0-1 World Heavyweight Champion, Akitoshi Saito?
Okay, now you brought that up. Why is Saito the 0-1 champion?
No idea.
If you're gonna, I get what they're doing with that. Like the 0-1 versus the Team Noah, like the legit Noah versus the real 0-1. It's funny how the Team Noah guys aren't booked on a lot of these Noah shows too, coming up soon. But if you're gonna put a Noah guy as the champion, couldn't it have been Go?
I was so confused. I thought he would be winning the title from Saito.
Or even Kotage. Like, if you're gonna, that would, again, kind of using my point on Yoichi from earlier, if Kotage won the 0-1 belt, it would actually mean something for him.
I think the reason is that Noah doesn't want anyone significantly to be losing to Masato Tanaka in the end.
You might be right about that. But yes, another good person to come in. There was a lot of controversy around Kento being on the All Together show. Yuma Yagi was saying, "No, we don't need to be on All Together." And then like a day later, Kento's like, "I'm on All Together." and now Yagi's like, "Man, yeah, damn you." But anyway, Saito brothers, they're awesome. Like, everybody knows that. We'll see who it is. Elpida, I don't love this name, to be honest with you. It reminds me of pita bread.
I was just gonna say I was looking it up and I thought it was something Spanish, some food or anything, but no.
It's something different. It's very unique. They're good there. I'll give them that. But who cares? They're awesome as a group. I don't care what you call them. Just keep them together as a group, even though they lost here.
We talked about it. I'm hungry.
I know we're gonna work on that in a few minutes, probably.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, so this setup stuff, Doi versus Hayato, their match last year was awesome. Better than any of Hayato's title matches this reign. So I thought the Abe match was a good step in the right direction from the earlier match, but not the game-changing match I think he needs, to make this reign something really special. I don't think this reign is that different from Dan's run earlier in the year, in my opinion. So I think he needs that big match.
Positioning him better because he's in this unit and he's more focused on.
He did get to eliminate the Saito brothers in this match with the top rope. Yeah, they're positioning him better, but I don't think his match quality is that much higher.
No,
if at all.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
that might be changing with this one. So
exactly.
What's your take on Anzai and Hideki?
This is my All Japan match of the year at this point. I thought it was phenomenal. Hideki, this match reminded me so much of the Hideki match versus Kaito in the N1 final that they had, where everything in this match, the parts where Hideki was on top, the parts where Anzai came back, even the parts where Anzai actually schooled Hideki a little bit on the mat, which I thought was very unselfish. Everything about this match was to present Anzai as the guy in the company, and it was totally successful. And he didn't get beer poured on his head afterwards, unlike Kaito.
Hideki is just awesome.
Yeah, what fantastic pro wrestler.
Man.
Very special talent. And on top of it, a logical continuation, because we talked about their match in the Carnival.
Right.
Which it was good, but we knew that they had stuff left in the tank. And then this was the natural conclusion of that first match here. So I really enjoyed all of this. Hideki was freaking awesome, and Anzai was so great. The only thing that prevents this from being this would be up there for the half-year awards for me if it weren't for that damn gimlet overall. It's got to go. This move
it's not working out. Yeah.
We were trying to be patient with it. I wanted to give it a chance. It's got to go. This move sucks. It's time to move on. Yeah.
But you know what is not a logical continuation? Suwama coming out to challenge Yuma Anzai. He lost to Yuma in the Champion Carnival very decisively with a face lock.
Yes, and amazing. The face lock is a much better finish than the gimlet, in my opinion. Has lore with Fuchi, who's coming back soon, by the way. But has lore is a great move. Dramatic win. I love that match. Suwama versus Anzai. That might have been my match of the year before this match. If not Anzai versus Kento. Man, Anzai is just so freaking great. He has it. He has everything it takes to be the one. Everybody dreamed that they could have someone this good. And the thing is, in this match, and in all of these matches we're talking about, whether it's Suwama, Kento, Hideki, those guys are not only great, they've been great for a decade plus at this point. They're all awesome and have been forever. And yet he has not been here a year or two. He's not been here 2 years. And is not only hanging, he's gaining from them and growing as time goes along and being the dude. He's one of the best workers. I said this last year. Everyone always qualifies him as this great wrestler for his age, when in reality, he's one of the best wrestlers, period, in any company. In my opinion, I would put Anzai up there. And I think his run is just something so special. And I would hate to see it come to a close with Suwama, beating him. But that's really the only reason you would think they would do this Suwama match, because you have Ray, you have Honda, that both beat him in the Carnival, you would think would set up. So this is going to be a big test. If he can get by Suwama, I think this title reign's going long term. It's not going to be...
If he can get past, yep.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think it's the right call. And Suwama... the thing is, you can't write off Suwama winning.
Never. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Anzai's already, he's made it. Like, remember that he didn't, when he won the belt, it was in a match that was so dissatisfying. Like an unsatisfying match with Nakajima.
Yep.
But through his willpower, he's made this to where he already feels like the top star at the point. So I don't think it'll be like a killer if he loses, but I would not like it. I would rather him win and just keep doing this because, like, why not? Like, what is the reason to take the title off of him right now?
There's none.
He's too good, man. Like this guy rules. Like just a legendary talent in the making.
So they are doing the title match on July 13th, same day as Noah runs Budokan in Tokyo. All Japan runs Eden Arena number 2 in Osaka with Yuma Anzai versus Suwama and Rising Hayato versus Naruki Doi. That's 2 good matches on the card. And we have another Curtain Hall coming up on the 20th of July with Kyo Iwata's debut 50th anniversary memorial match. Masanobu Fuchi, like you said, coming back. Masanobu Saito, I want to say, is teaming with Jun Saito and Rei Saito against Suwama. The fourth Saito brother. Yes. That's it.
What a great show that All Japan had, and I'm so hyped for them going forward.
Yeah, this was really a top-to-bottom show. You need to watch it all.
Yeah, totally agree. And keep following the company. They're doing really great things right now.
They are.
I would say.
They are. Yeah, Dylan, that's, I think, all we wanted to go through for the topics from the Japanese promotions, but there is one more thing you wanted to address because our half-year awards are coming up.
That's exactly right, Strigga. This is the real important topic right here. The half-year awards. I've designed the logo for the year-end awards.
Ooh.
Keep your eyes peeled on that. July 1st is when things get started, people. Like, that's when we're going to open up the votes.
Mm-hmm.
You got to vote on them. We'll talk about when we do the actual awards show. Well, we haven't talked about that yet, but it will happen eventually. Probably within 2 weeks. Like the year-end award, I think it was like 10 or 11 days. So kind of anticipate that. The Persona rub was strong by design choices. I admit that. But the half-year awards, like, there's a lot of different ways this could go, I would say. We have different award topics, which we're going to run through briefly here, and you can all think about them. I think it's very important to put thought into your awards. You don't have to just vote for the obvious thing. You could think about them, maybe even do a little research, or if you're just not, this is open to anybody. Like, even if you're, like, not watching every single promotion, that's okay. Like, you can still vote on the awards. We want your voices heard no matter who you are, what your experience level is. Just think about what you want to say or who you want to vote for, and we will always listen to you, and they will all be counted equally. Everyone gets a vote in the Eastern Lariat Awards. No bias here, people. The first award is the best foreigner that we had, which is, I think, pretty self-explanatory, like the best foreign wrestler in Japan. Just count what they did in Japan. We're not necessarily worried about the AEW run or anything like that.
AJ Styles doesn't count either.
Well, he won't even have a match at the first half of the year. So he's got no matches in Japan. But just count what they did in Japan, more or less. Do you have any ideas? You don't have to reveal your ballot, but do you have an idea of somebody who you think might be an early favorite for that?
Actually, I've not thought about it. No, I don't have anyone in mind right now. We have to dig into it deeper.
Yeah. I mean, last year, Ospreay won, and he's out, like the year-end awards there. So it's going to have to be somebody new.
I really haven't come up with anyone, Dylan, to be quite honest, because I didn't have the time to do it. So we might just run through the categories here.
Yeah, okay. We got the Akiyama Award, which is for the Rookie of the Year. It's got a 2-year deal. Just try to vote for somebody who was around, The half-year awards are to remember for the year-end awards. They're not as vital on their own. It's like a good staking point to put in the ground, for the year-end here. So that's something you got to look for. Most underrated, we're probably going to cut that out this year just because it's so...
Yeah, we're definitely going to cut it out.
It's so subjective,
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Like, a lot of people, it was like hundreds of people votes, and then they got like 93 tied with one vote. And the win doesn't mean that much.
No, the winners feel really interchangeable.
You got most improved, who has improved so far in the half year. It's like the half year award. This is tough. Like, this is more of a year end award type of thing. But I think there are some people who have improved that you could look at on there. Best promotion, you got All Japan won last year. We'll see who wins. I mean, like I said, any promotion's eligible, no matter who it is. So feel free to vote on that as long as it's a Japanese promotion as well, like based in Japan. Show of the year, that's going to be a hotly contested topic for sure on there this year. The half year one, the show of the year is always a weak award in general, I think, because it takes something really special to get noticed, like let alone a good, like full show. We kind of brought up the Despy show and the Bloodsport show. I think in terms of an overall show, I remember our vibes were really high after that New Japan show where it was Brian and Zach and the cage match. So that would be something to look at, but we'll look at it more in the future for sure. Best bout, match of the year, you got a lot of options already. Like in the half year, this is one of the more important reasons why the half year awards are more important. Because this kind of award definitely needs to be counted.
Yeah.
Because there's so much wrestling that happens. A great match in January or February can get lost in the shuffle by the end of the year.
Generally, this has been a down year business-wise for Japanese pro wrestling, but in the ring, there have been some great matches.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with both of those statements. The Kawada and Taue Best Tag Team Award. There's a lot of different options. Again, this is another award that can really ebb and flow low a lot of times because a lot of companies don't put their tag wrestling as big as they should have, in my personal opinion. But there are some good teams out there. Astronauts are almost a default vote, and they won last year. So we'll see if they continue their run in the half-year awards for sure. The Liger Award, Best Junior Heavyweight, that could go a lot of different directions. I think the Junior Awards, in a lot of ways, the half-year award is kind of a good determinator of the junior award because we're coming right off of the Best of the Super Junior tournament, and it's something you could look at. You have a more grander scale, like a fresher set of eyes for the sort of thing. Tanahashi Trophy, that's the best wrestler. By the way, the fans, you were the ones that voted on to name these awards after the wrestlers too, which we really greatly appreciate out there, and well-deserved. All the awards were greatly named for sure. But the Tanahashi Trophy, that's for the in-ring performer. I think you could go for a lot of different directions for this. It's going to be interesting. Again, Ospreay won last time. This was an Ospreay-heavy award at the year-end last year. So a lot of new winners are going to come for both the year-end and the half-year awards. It's going to be interesting to see who takes that home for sure. You got your best moment of the year. There's a lot of interesting moments. Last year, there was so many great things. The Muto and Shono final match at the end of the Muto show was what a lot of people voted for. The Kaito kicking Okada in the head spot last year got a lot of votes as well. So you got a lot of moments to look at in this half year. It's going to be interesting. I don't think there's anything on the emotional impact level of that, but there are a lot of fun things you can point to, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Toyota Trophy, Joshi MVP. That's going to be an interesting one because of so much disarray in the Joshi pro res scene so far. Julia won that last year. It's going to be interesting to see because, again, things were so off and on between Stardom and Marigold. Who's going to take the trophy home for this year? So it's going to be interesting. And, of course, the big award, the Kobashi MVP. Who is going to be hailed as the MVP of the entire half year of Japanese pro wrestling from January 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2024. 6 straight months. What are we going to do? Who is going to win this? Who is going to be the man in Japanese pro wrestling? I have definitely some ideas on who it could be. Well, who is it then? Who are your ideas?
Yeah, I'm strongly looking at Anzai. I think he has been very important, very vital to where All Japan is right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's recency bias. We just talked about how amazing he was. Great he was.
It's not only recency bias. I mean, look at his half year.
I thought about voting for him last year as the MVP. So he definitely deserves it. For sure, if Anzai wins, I think that's well-deserved, many would say. There's a lot of people. Kento won last year. So he hasn't been the dude in All Japan this year. Anzai's kind of taken over his spot overall. It's going to be interesting to see if that happens. I think Mox being the IWGP champion really hurts a lot of the New Japan contingent in this.
Mm-hmm.
But, and even last year, I remember us talking about the year-end awards. We kind of missed the mark. Naito didn't get as much love as we thought he would. So we'll see if that leads to anything here. Noah, you had Kaito get a big win. Up and down year in general for a lot of people. I think that MVP award, it's going to be interesting to see who gets it overall. So, yeah, the awards, July 1st, go to the Twitter at Eastern Lariat. We'll have the voting open. You can vote for all the awards. We've got the Google Forms and all that stuff, technological stuff. We will count all of them. Every single vote will be counted by hand, by me. So it will be immaculately formulated down to the very last vote. And there's been awards, not necessarily the year-end awards last year, but there has been awards in the past that have literally come down to a handful of votes, 1 or 2 votes that have broken through. So don't think your award doesn't count or your vote doesn't count. This is not politics or anything like that. Everything is where it's at here. Everything's fair. Everything is always going to vote on the Eastern Lariat Awards. So we want you to come in, let your voices be known. Go to the Twitter at Eastern Lariat. We really appreciate everybody who tuned in. We had a huge turnout for the year-end awards. It'll be interesting to see if we can match that. I would be very happy if that happened. But whatever happens, I know that our fans, they've proven it. Again, it's not just me saying it. It's been proven multiple times over the last couple of years. Our fans always come through, like, with great votes. There's never any times where I feel like, I can't believe it. Like, this happened. There's always a couple of votes I may disagree with, don't get me wrong. But almost everyone's well-reasoned, and hopefully you guys have fun. That's the most important thing, is have fun. Again, this is not politics. It's not that serious, at the end of the day. You can have fun with it. Make your voices heard. Let us know what you think. There'll be threads on Twitter, too, I'll put up throughout the week as well. So we'll all have some conversations and fun talk about who you pick and who we might think. Go back and forth. It'll be a lot of fun. So check it out, Eastern Lariat Twitter, and make sure to vote for the Half Year Awards 2024.
Absolutely. So I don't have anything to add to that, Dylan. I want to thank all the listeners prematurely who are going to vote for the Half Year Awards. And I want to thank all the listeners for listening to this show. This has been the Eastern Lariat. Goodbye.
Sayonara.